Welcome to Trading Tuesday. We are on the way to Travelers Beach. We're gonna buy Atlassium. And we gotta say we lost probably something between 5 up to 10 mil in the previous session. Because we got pirated at Sacran's Plot. And we loaded a lot of 4 SU boxes of Potilium. But we gotta say, I mean, the ship is damaged, but they didn't take all Atlassium. They left 2 boxes inside. And interestingly is, they brought back the ship to Gaslight. And for some weird reason, we woke up at Gaslight. Probably because that was the last check-in. But it was more like a happy accident that we didn't claim the Asgard, it was already there. So we can say these pirates have some sort of decency, even though they worked smart. They were somewhere around Sacran. We didn't see, there was no ship, or at least only one ship, but that one ship was basically upside down. And if we remember correctly, it was even game rules. So that means they had been there without any ship, and we followed them to Ravine with the M50. But the problem is the M50 compared with the Asgard, our Asgard has a way too fast quantum drive, so we couldn't. We had both more or less 3 gigamiles of distance to each other, but at the end they had 13 gigamiles distance to us, so it was pretty fast. They had been so much faster that they could unload all the boxes before we got to Buena Ravine. And at the moment they left, we figured there had been 2 of them. So either someone was around, dropped the body at Sacran, and once he was successful with pirating or killing us, they called a friend and said we need to have a transport or a hand to unload, offload boxes, and they did. So we have now 30 SUs of Atlassium here. Yeah, this is again a low pop shot. It was the last time as well. Now we have 112 in the shard, 21 on the server. Looked like the fire. Yeah, we cannot afford much. We cannot afford losing much more. And maybe that is even a stupid thing, but we shot at our ship ourselves at the moment they left Buena Ravine, and we cannot close the ramp because of that. And that is a bad thing to do, leave your ship open. And we're actually thinking about trading. Is it still worth the risk? And pirating is basically nothing else than theft. To steal from others. and we can say, yeah, this is a game, and it is a legit gameplay, so to speak. And just because it's a game, what does that tell us about the people doing that, right? But on the other way around, what else is it what we want to, what we could do? I mean, we can crew up, do more group gameplay, but it is not that easy to find people who actually want to do trading, at least not in that style we do. And we do big style, large scale trading. And most of the people want to have instant money, instant gratification. And the way we do, there is no instant gratification, not at all. At the end of the patch, or close to the end of the patch, we will sell all the boxes we have laying around. And most of the time we move some boxes to keep us liquid enough to buy more boxes. So it's not an accident that we have now here 30 SCUs of Atlassian, because sometimes we came here, bought boxes and left without loading. That's only possible because we have enough funding to do that. But creates even a bigger risk, because now we have to transport 30 SUs of Atlassium, and if we get pirated, then we lose a lot of boxes. I mean, compared to Pertilium, in the value, the Pertilium losing Pertilium is a higher loss than Atlassium. But the effort it took for this Atlassium is bigger. And that is also to consider when it comes to risk losing. Yeah. Yeah, one thing that we learn is really, even if the ship is abandoned, we probably shouldn't load boxes, at least not when we are alone. What is this? Maybe this is also the wrong gun. '23. More Atlassium. Yeah, maybe too many boxes, maybe in numbers. Less boxes at the time. It's interesting to see. I mean, there is no physical harm to be feared when you play a video game, but psychologically speaking, there is a real threat. One would even say emotionally. Maybe, I mean, of course, Pertilium, here is the only place you can buy Pertilium. But you do not need to deliver it to Ravine, you can deliver it somewhere else. going on.
Landing gear deployed.
Alright, so we are often watching other stuff while we do plain solo stuff, and we want to show you, or at least we want to give you the chance to listen to what we are listening to. So let's give it a try.
Kind of look a little different. I did want to run through this.
Doesn't work. Properties. Chrome. Easy run.
Like great run for a new player starting out, which I'm about to show you, and it's even for veterans who want to do such an easy, such a short, and just kind of relaxing cargo run. So guys, let's get into this. Let's take a look at the missions. Okay guys, so we are here in our mobiGlas. We're going to go over here to contracts, and as you can see, I am in the PTU for this upcoming 4.3.1, so this will be updated. We're going to go over here to our hauling contracts. This is what they are under now, and we are looking for this mission right here, which is just this 50k starting out, which is great. 50k AOC for only 7 SCU, pretty decent payout for a cargo mission, especially if you're like in a starter ship. And this 50k is actually going to help us with this very next step. So this is like going to play perfectly together. So we're going to grab this mission. We're going to do this 7 SCU corundum, and we're going to take it from right here at the spaceport at Area 18 to, from Bajini Point, right here where we're at, to the Riker Memorial Spaceport. So we're going to go ahead and accept that, and we're going to go ahead and kind of get this loaded. Alright guys, since we were already here at Bajini, this is going to make this an easy run, so make sure you're definitely at Bajini before you kind of start this so you don't have to worry about flying. So we're going to throw these few boxes onto our trusty little Titan here. Remember, definitely make sure you have a tractor beam gun. Before you start any type of cargo missions, you are going to have to manually move cargo to do these missions, so that is helpful. So let's speed this baby up real fast. Let's get this cargo mission done, and I'll actually see you guys once I get it loaded and we get back down to Riker Memorial Spaceport to finish this, so we can talk about the next step of these missions. Alright guys, one thing I did want to note, since we're already talking about this and the next missions are going to be at the exact same place as well, I thought it'd be good to show you like how easy and how close this is, right? Because all these runs are going to be done from the same location. We're going from right here from Bajini, and we're going down here to where the ship is. So it makes this extremely easy to actually jump to, because you're going to jump basically right above where the spaceport actually is to deliver this, which is going to be fantastic. So we're going to open up our menu here, click this, see if we can actually get it to lock in here. You know how Star Citizen is with its map. So let's see if we can get ourselves to warp here. And just like that, guys, we are kind of directly above where the spaceport is. You can see it right here. And when we jump down, we actually end up right over the spaceport, which is just fantastic. Super easy. Just make sure, as you saw, you have to warp to the planet first before you can make this little jump. I don't know what it seems like in the last patches. It just seems like the quantum drive has been just a little more buggy than it has been in the past, at least for me. So hopefully with all this, new transit stuff and stuff, maybe quantum drive will be included in that. We can only be hopeful. Alright guys, so I will see y'all once we get this unloaded. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've got our 7 SCU box unloaded right there of our little Titan. We're going to get in here, we're going to send this down, we're going to complete this mission. As you can see, 7 of 7, we're good there. And just like that, if you were starting out and you didn't have any money, you didn't have any AUC, now you're 50K AUEC up, which is going to be great because we're actually going to rent a ship, and that ship is probably going to be around the 35-ish, 36-ish K range or something like that. We are going to actually rent hull A. But we have finished that. So the next thing we're going to end up doing is we're going to need to go to Bajini Point. But before we do that, let's take a look at the missions and see what we have open and see what we're actually going to select, right? So we have our hauling missions open now down here, which is hauling small grade, and then we have hauling supply grade. Now you do still have this hauling, which gives you this intro mission for the one that we skipped, which we don't need right now. But if you're going to unlock that different type of hauling, that's where you go to do it. So what we're looking for is we're looking for small grade, right? And what we're looking for are these 50K missions. Now these are the same 50K missions that I showed in previous videos for almost this exact same cargo haul. They're just located in a different place. So we're looking for, we want to stay in ArcCorp. We want to stay from Bajini to Riker. So that's the missions that we're looking for. And they all should be this 50K right here, right? So what we're looking for is a collect carbon from Bajini Point right here, and we're going to take it back to Riker, which is where we're at right now. So that's one. We're going to accept that. Then we're going to come back into the offers. See, we're going to chain these together. So we're going to come back in here. We're going to look for the next 50. Here we are. That's 11 from Bajini to Riker, which is another 50K. Gonna go back. We're going to go to back to the small. We're looking for another 50K. Here we go. Another one from right here, Bajini to Riker. We're going to accept that. So now we're up to 150K right here. Then we're going to go back to our small grade. We're going to look for this next 50K. Again, from Bajini to Riker. Another just 7 SEU. That's pretty good. Then we're going to go back to small grade. We're going to keep on looking for these 50K ones. As many as we can get, right? And that looks to be about it. So where this mission used to be an easy 300-ish K, it looks like they've kind of removed a few of those missions. Now we can check to see if any of them are from, maybe they reduced the price or something like that, or they upped the price. But see, this is from Bajini, and these are different locations, so these are not the missions that we are looking to take. Now let's see if we can go down here to supply grade. So this was small and this is supply grade. If we come down here, it doesn't look like we have any of those missions either, because this is from Bajini to, you know, L2. No, so that's pretty much going to be it as far as it goes. Now, if you have a larger ship that can take a lot more cargo, you're able to like do this run and then select this mission that I'm on right here, which is this 53K, and you can make this run and take it from Riker back to Bajini. So you always have a run that you can do in between. So right now we are back to our missions that we have. We've got accepted, and we have two here, which is 200K for very little. It looks like they've reduced them. So we only have 6, 8, 11, and then back to 6.
So it's basically nothing new. It's just stacking the rookie contracts. I'm not sure if we walked on the elevator. That's why it comes up. Yeah, 21 here. At the moment we landed 19 on the server. Just need to get rid of the yellow boxes. I mean, meanwhile people know what the yellow boxes are. Of course you see the music. Get the fuck! soon as we see movement, it's basically already too late. Looks good. Oh, good. All good. All right, so then what was the other one? Red Monster, he's doing cargo for Kovalek's rep work.
Hey, so that's goldenrod deliveries done. Heading up to Port Tressler now. We get the last of our pickups. Titanium, aluminum, carbon, and quartz. We can just set those off in corners. Get the counts up. I have 6 and 9, so 15 titanium, 15 aluminum, 5 carbon, 13 quartz. How much I've got to deliver? So yeah, tried a jump ship last night for a first time. That was a good one. Tomorrow we're planning on doing a little bit of Manor Lords. I've got one achievement I haven't completed yet, and that's to beat Restoring the Peace without using your retinue. But I have to say, I think it's gonna be easy because I can just do it on relaxing difficulty, and I'll go for a quick nap. Something we can kick back, pound through in an afternoon. We'll do that, and yeah, next week I am Variety Day on Wednesday. I'm actually gonna do the move. I'm gonna prep for the move into Louisville on Project Zomboid. Yossarian. He's a person.
Yeah, it just takes too much time. Responsiveness is miserable.
Killed him, that was funny. CIA killed JFK. On people's handles, man. Yeah, I'm waiting behind Yossarian.
Yeah, as you can see, 8.1 mil by now. We started out with 60. So we invested.
Hey.
Yeah, we invested
Last
heavily.
few. We're gonna go to.
So this will be the thing we need to
production
get rid of
complex
these
A,
boxes.
And then to New Babbage.
We need to bring them.
We'll probably end at New Babbage unless there's a good combo we can grab from there. But
Away from here. Failed. Why was it failed? Don't we have enough money? Maybe we need to empty the inventory here. Yeah, maybe that is the reason why we don't play with music, because it's distracting. Yeah, that rep work for Kovalex, or even Red Hound. The Red Wind could be interesting. We've heard from SU haulers, if you grind enough and rep up, you will get contracts for the whole sea. We don't have a whole sea, but it would be interesting when you have a whole sea to do the pain. To go all through all the contracts for the reputation. And to be quite frank, economically speaking, doing this contract, especially this Red Wind, when you have to go to a Dupree facility or Cryastro, you will get a lot of money for what you do. 117, if we remember correctly, 117 per contract. And you can do it with the Constellation Taurus. You can stack them all contracts from one location, and you can fill up the whole ship. If you have a bigger ship, like the Asgard for example, you can probably stack all contracts from both locations and bring it into the ship. And that is total, in total, if we remember correctly, 18 contracts you can stack. 1.8 mil for, let's say, an hour of work, with basically risking nothing but losing time. You need to fight NPCs on location, and eventually even players, because we figured that players players think it is a good thing to bomb the players at this location for whatever reason. They just bored out or whatnot. So it could be a little bit challenging to actually do the contract, not because of the NPCs shooting at you, no, because of other players bored out and want to test out bombing. It's a kind of unfortunate. We can say we are not gamers, but seeing this behavior even let us think about not playing that often anymore. Just because even the psychological pressure we have here to constantly be basically paranoid on pirates or not wanting to be pirated. I mean, now we do not care if somebody takes away our backslide, we don't care. But the other thing, the high value boxes, we really care. Because it's not only the invest we have, we lose, it's also the effort it took to make that millions to be able to do that invest. So if somebody pirates us, it's basically a double loss. And that hurts. Yeah. And you can say, yeah, this is a video game and players can do that. But we need to ask ourselves critically, why do we do that? Is it also the dopamine? Is it the profit? Is it what is it that drives us doing that? And sometimes we actually question that. Why do we actually doing that? Is it the dopamine? Maybe it's just because it's kind of relaxing, moving virtual space boxes. But it's not relaxing when you need to look over your shoulder constantly for pirates. Then it is not. But even then, we actually kind of appreciate the PvP aspect exactly because of the variables. That makes it a little bit more exciting than just doing it solo. But we tried out being on a high pop chart, and you cannot go anywhere. You cannot go to Shepherd's Rest without getting shot. Not even necessarily from pirates, also Grievous as well. You cannot go to Bueno Ravine without being sniped. You cannot go to Saccharin. You cannot do anything, basically. And you can say, okay, the good thing about that, not be able to doing trading, is to need to find other aspects of what Star Citizen has to offer. We did some of this Hyperion stuff, but we are not really keen on. I mean, every now and then doing some FPS stuff, it's great. Shoot and loot. But yeah, I mean, the Hyperion, if you do the complete Hyperion properly, with looting, of course, it can take up 2 hours. 2 hours is in the worst, not that much, basically, but just be there and doing that. You get well paid, I would say 600 something. Yeah, every now and then it's totally fine. Yeah, almost 1,000 SUs of cobalt, 600 something, plus the backslide. It's a lot of boxes, and basically also a lot of money. So we are gonna selling a batch of Atlassium and Patilium.
Hey.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hello.
Hello. All empty, all good. 224. Back on almost 12. Yeah, start getting appetite. Haven't had dinner yet. And we are not sure if we should eat something or go to bed as soon as we unload it. $22 on the server. Yeah, the reason why we also have 4 SUs is because of selling aspect. When we only have 8 SUs, we will get 107. Why it doesn't work? 176 SUs we can sell at a time, and 4 SUs will be missing. And so we have the 4 SUs with it to come up to 180 SUs. That is a complete batch, 100% batch we can sell. And that should be for both at the end, but we are not quite sure. We will have probably enough Baxolite. But not enough cobalt. And if we do not have 176 in total at least, then we do not sell. Then we will come back or go back to Carnot View to bring more.
Hello.
Yeah, there's someone else doing a video 4 mil. The fastest way to make 4 mil red wind hauling. We are listening to it.
Everyone, my name is Erickson and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to go over the new mission that came in 4.3.1, which is called Red Wind Linehouse. We will focus on 2 missions to be specific. We will focus on Rinbone seeking new haulers, and we'll focus on rookie hauler needed for direct small planetary routes. The 46k mission, the first one, is just a beginner mission that we need to do in order to get the 117k one. That's the one we're really going to focus on, and that's the one that we will make the most money out of. So we will focus all on basics and details as well. So don't worry, we're gonna cover everything. The video will cover 0 to 100%. Also, we're gonna cover on routes, ships, the whole strike sheet like other videos that we did. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please share, like, and comment. Let me know if you have any suggestions for future videos, and if you enjoyed the video, I really want to know if my viewers have any suggestions in order to make the quality better, and if they have any requests on videos. We also have United Planet Federation, that it's my org, and we are doing weekly and daily missions for a while now. If you're interested and you're looking for an org, feel free to contact me. We would love to have you. We will do PvPs, PvEs, and stuff like that. With that, let's go do our strike sheet. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, welcome to a strike sheet. A strike sheet is a sheet we use to give all the information from the video out at the start. So if you didn't have time or you didn't want to watch the whole video, the strike sheet will give you all of the information of this video. I mean, all maybe not, but 90%, 100% you get. Mission name for this mission is Rookie Hauler for Planetary Route. The reason I'm using this name and not the other one is because the other mission, the 46k mission, is only for you to get started. It's not there for you to keep doing it and make money because, I mean, let's be honest, it's 46k. It's not. A requirement for equipment is heavy armor set with a gun, relatively something that has a lot of ammo. I suggest LMGs, FS9 by far, good gun. A max lift tractor would be needed if you're going to load and you don't have a Argo Atlas or Argo tractor. If you have these two, then don't take this, but if you have, let's say, like an Argo tractor and you don't want to take another ship with you, then either take an Argo Atlas or a max lift. Valuable cargo, there is none because we're not stealing anything, we're just haul everything. Estimated time for this is 15 to 20 minutes. I've been doing this mission for 2 days now. It hasn't taken more than 22 minutes so far. So average is 15 to 20. Recommended ships, we highly suggest the Argo Raft. The reason is because the cargo grid is like a bubble and there's a bit of a bug in it, and I will fully explain it in the video. But if you don't have an Argo Raft or you cannot buy an Argo Raft, other heavy cargo ships like C2s would be good ones. The location is in Stanton. We cannot do this mission at Pyro, so Stanton is your only option. Team size, this mission is made for people that want to do it solo or duo. But if you want to do it with other people, let's say a team of 4, sure, you still can do it. You can do it easily, but it's not going to be profitable. Okay? We're not saying that it's impossible, we're saying it's not profitable. With that being said, let's go do the video. Okay, so sorry to come back here. We have a small issue. While I was recording, some of the part of the video was a bit bugged, so it didn't say where to buy the raft. So in order to get yourself a raft, if you don't know how to do, is you need to go to Lorville, get out of the elevator, and literally out of the elevator, there's a place called New Deal. You go in there and you buy yourself raft. Raft is 3.5 million, and you can make that money in like 3-4 hours, and you will have that ship for the rest of your life, as long as we're in alpha. And let's be honest, we're gonna be in alpha for a long.
No, not for the rest of our life, but definitely for the rest of this patch.
So with that being said, get yourself a raft, and if you can, get yourself a Atlas. You will need it. Let's go, and now start the video. Once you're in your hangar, you want to get yourself an Argo Atlas like us and attach it to your ship. By attaching it, just put the leg up and attach it. For a team of 2, 1 Argo Atlas would be enough, as one of you will be covering the other one. With that being said, we will see you guys in the next part, where we're going to take the first mission, the 46k mission. Okay, so we're here. As for the mission, open your contracts, go to your hauling, calm down. It's a 46k mission called Red Wing Seeking for New Haulers. Red Wing long haul. This is the first mission you're going to get, and you're going to take it only once. It's a beginner mission. Let's select it. I want to share it size. Okay, so collect location and deliver location. So we're not buying anything. We're just taking one item to another. We're gonna see you guys at the location when we're loading items. Okay, we're here to collect the shipment. It's a bit buggy landing, just so keep an eye out. And Raft is a bit powerful ship, so you might crash. Once you get here, just get yourself a hangar and park your ship. The reason we're using a Raft for this mission is not important at this point. You can use any ship at this point. The reason we're using a raft is for the next mission, okay? And I'm using it right now because I want to be ready to go to the next one the second I'm done. Alright, let's land this, put our gear out, put our VTOL, turn. It's a very easy landing. What you want to do is you want to put your back once you're in towards the elevator, so loading is easier. This one only gonna give you a few SU boxes. It's not that big of an order, but once you're doing that big missions, it's really what it matters, because you're gonna have like 200 SU box on a ship like this, which can only have like 230 SU box. So it is very important for you to put everything in order and try to get your ship as close as possible to the elevator, so you have a fast loading. Let's get out of the ship. Sorry, come, let's go. Also, sometimes the elevator gets bugged and it might not be there. Don't worry about it, just go out of the airlock. It's on the other side. Alright, come on in. Go down. Okay, so the first mission is only a 24S view of cargo. In this case, it's a ship ammunition. We have so many spots, so don't worry about it. Let's bring everything up. As you can see, just 4 SU boxes. Yeah, 6 SU boxes, nothing. We can easily put it on this ship. So they're coming up, let's start loading them up. Again, this mission is only a beginner mission and we're not focusing on this mission. 46k is not good money. The next mission is what we're going to fully focus on. Let's take them out. Alright, fast. You bring them, I load them, sorry. That will make it faster. I got it. Also, you can only put 2 stacked on each other, so be careful and place everything in a good order. Alright, once we load everything, we will see you guys at the location in Lorville. Okay, we're at Lorville. It's pretty straightforward. Just go land again like before. Try to put the back of your ship as close as possible towards the elevator, because loading and unloading, you want it to be as fast as possible. You don't want to waste a lot of time, especially when you have a big amount of cargo. Unloading many or loading many is just gonna be painful and it's gonna be slow if you're solo. Again, for this mission, at this point you can do it solo for 46k, but once you get to the 117k mission, you're gonna need
capital ships losing their Tier 1 medical beds was a design decision by SIG or just a bug. Because with them, it's very hard to tell because they don't really communicate anything very well. I also wanted to see what people in my community thought about this, whether it was a good or a bad change, and here are the poll results on screen. As you can see, it's pretty close to 50-50. I am in the camp of I do not think that any capital ship should have lost its Tier 1 medical bed. And from reading all the comments that people posted about this, it seems that people feel like they had to in order for the Apollo to have a purpose anymore, because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the only Tier 1 medical bed in the game. Others have said that they did this to encourage sales of the Apollo. I do not often believe in that. I think that a lot of things that SIG does is mostly either knee-jerk or an overreaction to something. Generally, it's typically a change I think they make without really understanding the game that they work on. Take a look at the Drake Corsair nerf, for example. It's one of many very silly design changes that they made and they walked back on. And a lot of this stuff with the med beds and all that, I think comes down to just how poorly the entire medical bed concept is in Star Citizen. Tier 1, 2, and 3, all this stuff, it's overly complicated and it, quite frankly, doesn't need to be. It's actually so complicated that it even confused Jared and some guy he was talking to on SCL. Here, listen to this.
It's technically 6 modules, but it's 2. It's the left and right with a tier 1 bed, a left and right with the tier 2 with 2 tier 2 beds, and a left and right with 3 tier 3 beds.
Yeah.
So it is technically.
I still get confused by the tiers. It's the wrong way around in my head.
It is. We do. Everything in Star Citizen is generally, you know, tier 1 is your starting, and then you go up. And tier 2 is more than tier 1, and tier 3 is more than tier 1. With the Apollo, because of whatever decision we made back in 2018 or when, I think it matches actual first responder injury stuff. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Oh, I guess that makes sense then.
But it's inverse. So the Apollo is the only one that's inverse, where tier 1 med beds are the best of the med beds, and then tier 2 are the medium, and then tier 3 are the lesser ones. And that is confusing a lot of people. We're like John said.
So if the guys working on Star Citizen cannot even remember or figure out what tiers the med beds are, I think it is perfectly reasonable for us as players to be equally, if not more, confused. Me personally, if I had my way, I would just make the medical beds tier 1, 2, and 3, and have 1 be the worst and 3 be the best. But let's actually talk about this change here, and I'm going to give you my feedback on it and what my opinion is. It should probably come as no surprise to you that I am against the capital ships losing their tier 1 medical beds. This is not because I own these capital ships, I also own the Apollo, but it's because of how I view the medical beds and their role in the game. As has been pointed out to me by others in comments, the medical system in Star Citizen is very bad. I've done videos about this. But really, what their purpose is, and this is the most important purpose that they have, is to function as a respawn point. A capital ship should, in theory, be a mobile base, something that you operate out of and that you run, events and things out of for your organization. It would only make sense for this mobile base to have the absolute best medical bed available. That is not to say that the Apollo should lose its tier 1 medical bed, not at all, but rather that it should be shared with capital ships as well. Honestly, again, if we didn't have this bizarre medical bed distinction, we really wouldn't be having this conversation. A medical bed would simply be a medical bed, and the ship it's attached to would have its own positives and negatives, along with having the convenience or tactical option of a medical bed with it. Some people have raised the concern that if the capital ships did not lose their tier 1 medical beds, that the Apollo would have no purpose. Well, if that's the case, I would say that no other ship with a medical bed now, other than the Apollo, has a purpose, because the Apollo is, quite frankly, the absolute best at what it does, which again is a problem presented to us by having the tiered medical bed system. If I had to have a medical bed tier system, I would simply have 2 tiers. I would have a tier that players build on planets, so FOBs and outposts and everything else. Those would be your most powerful medical beds and respawns or medical facilities that players would run and staff. Think of your, a mobile doctor, field hospital, FOB, whatever you want to call it. And then the other type of medical bed I would have would simply be a mobile one, which would be universal across all ships that have a medical bed. From the Ursa all the way up to the Idris, the medical beds would simply be the same, but the chassis that they are on and the tactical options that chassis gives you would be what's different. Because right now, the only real difference with the medical beds is the respawn range. Tier 1, which is the best, and currently what the Apollo has, can act as a system-wide respawn point. Well, then I would ask you this. What is an Apollo going to do with a system-wide respawn point? Let's say you're on Area 18 and some other guy dies on Microtech and he respawns on your Apollo. Now what? How does he get off of your Apollo? What do you do with him? Do you drive him somewhere? Do you take him back to his ship? Do you take him to a station? What do you do? Are you a medic at this point? Are you a doctor? Or are you a taxi driver? What are you doing? These are the questions I ask because the Star Citizen medical system makes no sense. That's why I always talk about the respawns. A player respawning on a ship with no way to get another ship of his own means nothing. And in Star Citizen, you have to have a ship to do everything and anything. It's how you play the game. So what does it matter when you respawn on a mobile point when you have no way to leave that mobile point? This is why I have always advocated for the capital ships being that mobile base, as well as having the capital ships possess the ability to claim or respawn, or whatever term you want to use, a ship. Now, don't focus on the specifics here. Just understand the concept, because we're talking about the concept of a ship spawning another ship. This is the same concept that you think would apply to a base, a mobile base that you're supposedly going to be able to build in the future, right? So you build a respawn facility on a planet, and on that respawn facility is also a way to pull a ship to get off that planet, I would assume, right? You would think this is what would make sense from a gameplay point of view. You would, I'm sure, make this require a resource of some sort, something that you would use to fabricate the ship instead of using the word claim. Somewhat similar to Medgel, but except for respawning a ship. The next logical step in this thought process is then, well, what do we do about infantry-focused players or ground combat-focused players? What do they do without equipment? Because to them, they don't just need a ship, they need equipment. Well, how do we get them their equipment? Are these ships expected to bring every single piece of gear? Or would something like, say, again, an abstract resource that manufactures the gear and lets them claim gear for a cost that the ship has to refill, would that not make more sense? These are all concepts. They're not specifics. And believe it or not, this is what ties into the Apollo and the medbed and the Capitals losing their medbed. Because simply respawning in Star Citizen is not enough. There's another layer to respawning. It's why stations are so popular. Stations have everything you need to continue the game. However, mobile spawn points don't have anything that you need in order to continue the game, unless you're respawning on your own ship and you bring your own stuff. But what about everybody else? What about if you're trying to just pick up strangers, or you're trying to help your organization, or you're just trying to do whatever it may be? Use your imagination. How do you get the person respawning on your ship or your medical facility to continue the game? That is how this ties in to the capital ships losing their medbeds, because it is the only ship in the game, in theory, that is also in theory equipped to potentially allow a player to continue the game. The next logical step to a player respawning on your ship is how the hell do you get them off of your ship? Well, they need their own ship, they need their own equipment. Right now, Capitals are the only thing that have, again, in theory, the ability to do that. So that's how I think about things. I always look at it from a multi-layered approach. Star Citizen, a lot of these concepts, and people always bring it up. They say, oh, well, this is meant to be the best damn space sim ever, and all that crap. Listen, guys, these are concepts that are well over a decade old now. These are concepts that were thought of before Star Citizen added infantry combat to the game. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. The moment they added infantry, they have shifted from space sim to combined arms MMO FPS. And again, need I remind you, this is straight from the mouth of people working on the game. And if this game does not start being developed like an MMO FPS game, it will not succeed in being a space sim, nor will it succeed in being an MMO FPS. The MMO FPS part of the game is the most nuanced part of the game that is being developed. There are plenty of other space sim games to get inspirations and ideas from, and quite frankly, the space sim thing, it's very easy to develop that. But developing a very well thought out and functioning MMO FPS is very hard, because you can't just look at a session-based, non-scaling shooter game for inspiration on systems and design. And you only really have 3 other games to look at for ideas and inspiration and lessons that you can learn from. That's World War II Online, Planetside 1, and Planetside 2. Those are the only 3 MMO FPS games ever made. Star Citizen will be the 4th. Think about that. It is still relatively uncharted gaming territory, and I am seeing a easy to develop that. But developing a very well thought out and functioning MMO FPS is very hard, because you can't just look at a session-based, non-scaling shooter game for inspiration on systems and design. And you only really have 3 other games to look at for ideas and inspiration and lessons that you can learn from. That's World War II Online, Planetside 1, and Planetside 2. Those are the only 3 MMO FPS games ever made. Star Citizen will be the 4th. Think about that. It is still relatively uncharted gaming territory, and I am seeing a lot of these mistakes being made and a lot of things being put in a game without any thought or lessons learned from the failures of these 3 games that I mentioned. SIG may or may not be aware of that. And everything I just said, that all ties into the capital ship and Apollo medbed changes, believe it or not. Anyway, thank you for watching and or listening.
Yeah, we totally agree on the point that capital ships shouldn't lose tier 1 beds. First of all, it's a capital ship for a reason. And like he said, a capital ship is most likely the home base, at least for the owner. But even as an organization, who hangs around a capital ship should be able to respawn on that capital ship to either continue or be together with the crew. And that combined arms aspect that he was mentioning is actually the real aspect of the reason of having a tier 1 for the crew, the orc. So we don't have a capital ship, not yet. Not sure if we will find one at IAE. But the capital ships in general are basically not the thing that we are looking for the sake of being capital ships. We rather want to have a proper cargo ship. And one cargo ship that we are looking at is the Ironclad. And we will go for the Ironclad Assault for the same reason why we prefer the M2 over the C2. For the very same reason. More armory, at least on the paper, and more defense mechanisms. I mean, even based on the specs, the Ironclad both have some turrets, and the problem is the turrets from the Ironclads are on the upper side of the ship. That means we already know if we fly around with an Ironclad, our weak spot would be below the ship, the belly, below. So that means we either would need to have escorts or adjust our trading routes. But it doesn't really matter in what direction we decide to go. The Asgard as a cargo shuttle is perfect. And so we are not sure if we should do with the orc loading Nomadoc's Ironclad the cargo, and he will park his ship in deep space while we start loading the ship with the Asgard as a cargo shuttle. And so he locks in, we quantum jump to his ship, load the boxes, and he will log off, and that's it. Of course you can say, yeah, but who does that kind of gameplay? And we also can say Nomadic also doesn't play video games. He plays Star Citizen. Up until now, we only got pirated once. And that was at that very same time where the Asgard was available for free fly. The moment before we pledged for it. And since then, we haven't got pirated here. So that means Connaught View is still a relatively calm place to bring boxes. We could say, unfortunately, you only can buy primary commodities. It's the diamond laminate. And in the value, it's less value than the Atlassium. And that is the only one thing that you can buy. So whenever we show up here at Counter View, we are coming because we deliver. And as a pirate, at least when we would do pirate, we would be the lazy ones. And this is how we see pirates, lazy bastards who are too lazy to work their asses off. And so we would wait here until somebody like us shows up to deliver boxes. And depending on the ship that shows up, maybe give them even a load before we attack and kill. Yeah, brute force. And the most weak spot during cargo is when you have 50-50. 50 on the elevator, 50 in the ship. Now, here it's not a 50-50. It will never be a 50-50 when we load the Ascot to the full. But everybody who does cargo like we do, we know, and everybody else also knows, that 12 of 8 SU boxes is the maximum you can load onto the elevator. So we just count the boxes, and as soon as the 11th box is on the elevator and he turns around to put the 12 on it, we can approach, apprehend, and do the deeds. So as soon as we unload it, we need to check how many cobalts we have. But what we definitely can do is selling Baxelite. We will have enough Baxelite down there. We even could say the bad view here because of the cold. There is no fucking reason why this box is sticky to the ground. Absolutely no reason. Super annoying. Yeah, we do not know if that is a bug or a feature, but sometimes we really think CIG do that intentionally to make people suffer. Yeah, maybe the Supermax is just too weak. Almost done here. And financially we are not in a bad shape, not at all. We have a lot of assets, especially at Ravine. And we need to coordinate the transport of the bigger boxes. And we are not sure if we gift the diamonds to Nomadic, because we are too lazy. Because we are too lazy to unload the C2. So he could sell the diamonds off the ship, and he will get paid for giving us the ship. Because we already know diamonds doesn't give that much money. Although it is based on the criteria, it's a primary commodity, and it gives 1,000, or let's say more than 1,000. Yeah, they have texture now. Oh, we got the Meyer cobalts. Okay, walk around the buildings looking for loot boxes. And then we click on sell. Then we are done for tonight. It's not that late. But definitely time to go to bed. So let's see, 75k, 1 SCU, that is 7, okay. It costs more. So we redact, it costs more than Atlassian. And we see we sell them all. Okay, almost 14 mil. Not that bad. Alright, yeah, that is Trading Tuesday. Anything else here? Loot boxes? Yeah, here. Nothing really of interest, to be honest. Just random bullshit.